our nation into a repeated set of disasters. 1 year ago, our country was in deep trouble, but today, just 8 months into my administration, we are the hottest country anywhere in the world, and there is no other country even close. America is blessed with the strongest economy, the strongest borders, the strongest military, the strongest friendships, and the strongest spirit of any nation on the face of the earth. This is indeed the golden age of America. We are rapidly reversing the economic calamity we inherited from the previous administration, including ruinous.
And shout out to Monty, said, did you know that? I know, right? Everybody's going to start missing the old intro. I can already tell.
Price increases and record-setting inflation.
Still growing you.
Inflation like we've never had before. Under my leadership, energy costs are down. Gasoline prices are down. Grocery prices are down. Mortgage rates are down. And inflation has been defeated. The only thing that's up is the stock market, which just hit a record high. In fact, it hit a record high 48 times in the last short period of time. Growth is surging. Manufacturing is booming. The stock market, as I said, is doing better than it's ever done. And all of you in this room benefit by that, almost everybody. And importantly, workers' wages are rising at the fastest pace in more than 60 years. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? In 4 years of President Biden, we had less than $1 trillion of new investment into the United States. In just 8 months since I took office, we have secured commitments and money already paid for $17 trillion. Think of it, 4 years, less than $1 trillion, 8 months, much more than $17 trillion is being invested in the United States. And it's now pouring.
You know, as Trump flexed his, well, I'm gonna be honest, his economic muscles about the investments in the United States, talking about up to $17 trillion and a lot of commitments to buy American energy. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. And I'm talking about within the next 1 to 2 years, we're going to see all of this start popping off. So within his term. And shout out to my man Monty. What happened? Where'd it go? I mean, man, they lost me in a negotiation. That's pretty much all I can really say. In negotiations, things did not work out. I'll just say it like that.
Him from all parts of the world. We've implemented the largest tax cuts in American history and the largest regulation cuts in American history, making this once and again the best country on earth to do business. And many of the people in this room are investing in America, and it's turned out to be an awfully good investment during this 8-month period. In my first term, I built the greatest economy in the history of the world. We had the best economy ever, history of the world. And I'm doing the same thing again, but this time it's actually much bigger and even better. The numbers far surpass my record-setting first term. On our southern border, we have successfully repelled a colossal invasion. And for the last 4 months, and that's 4 months in a row, the number of illegal aliens admitted and entering our country has been 0. Hard to believe, because if you look back just a year ago, it was millions and millions of people pouring in from all over the world, from prisons, from mental institutions, drug dealers, all over the world they came. They just poured into our country with the ridiculous open border policy of the Biden administration. Our message is very simple. If you come illegally into the United States, you're going to jail, or you're going back to where you came from, or perhaps even further than that. You know what that means?
And it's actually funny because a lot of these countries in the United Nations have a terrible immigration problem. But I mean, that's kind of one of the things that's kind of one of the criticisms of the United Nations, that they kind of do support heavy immigration.
I want to thank the country of El Salvador for the successful and professional job they've done in receiving and jailing so many criminals that entered our country. And it was under the previous administration that the number became record-setting, and they're all being taken out. We have no choice. And other countries have no choice because other countries are in the exact same situation with immigration. It's destroying your country, and you have to do something about it. On the world stage, America is respected again like it has never been respected before. You think about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, or 1 year ago, we were a laughingstock all over the world. At the NATO summit in June, virtually all NATO members formally committed to increase defense spending at my request from 2% to 5% of GDP, making our alliance far stronger and more powerful than it was ever before. In May, I traveled to the Middle East.
Which nobody thought he could do in NATO. I mean, everybody was doubting that Trump was going to be able to get any NATO countries to up their military spending. But not only did he do that, he made sure that they're going to buy from the USA. So buy USA weapons, which is a good thing. I mean, hey, put some money in their pockets, and they, hold their obligation to start spending 5% of their GDP on military spending.
To visit my friends and rebuild our partnerships in the Gulf and those valued relationships with Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE and other countries are now, I believe, closer than ever before. My administration has negotiated one historic trade deal after another, including with the United Kingdom, the European Union, Japan, South Korea, Vietnam, Indonesia, the Philippines, Malaysia, and many, many others. Likewise, in a period of just 7 months, I have ended 7 unendable wars. They said they were unendable. You're never going to get them solved. Some were going for 31 years, 2 of them, 31, think of it, 31 years. One was 36 years. One was 28 years. I ended 7 wars. And in all cases, they were raging with countless thousands of people being killed. This includes Cambodia and Thailand, Kosovo and Serbia, the Congo, and
that the U.S. got no assistance on. So it was just pretty much Trump on his lonely trying to fix all these, conflicts. And the U.S. just sat to the side, twiddling their fingers and having all the criticism in the world, but no solutions whatsoever, kind of like a certain party that we know over here in America. But shout out to my man Monty. Says, I'll sponsor you every time you play the air horn. You got to say brought to you by Monty. You know what? Shout out, man. Appreciate you, Monty. And brought to you by Monty.
Rwanda, a vicious, violent war that was.
Brought to you by Monty.
Pakistan and India, Israel and Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia, and Armenia and Azerbaijan. It included all of them. No president or prime minister, and for that matter, no other country has ever done anything close to that. And I did it in just 7 months. It's never happened before. There's never been anything like that. I'm very honored to have done it. It's too bad that I had to do these things instead of the United Nations doing them. And sadly, in all cases, the United Nations did not even try to help in any of them. I ended 7 wars, dealt with the leaders of each and every one of these countries, and never even received a phone call from the United Nations offering to help in finalizing the deal. All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen, but she's in great shape. We're both in good shape. We both.
I mean, bad escalators, bad teleprompter. Next thing you know, we're about to start hearing this. Like, next thing you know, it's just about to be like that. And that's just the sound effect. But don't worry, though. It's about to come up in the UN. I'm just playing, by the way. But shout out to my man Vlastine. He says, chirp every 30 seconds. Not every 30 seconds. That's going to piss people off. And shout out to my man Monty. He says, sponsored payment. And shout out to the message by Monty. So, I got you, Monty. I got you. Appreciate the support, brother.
And then a teleprompter that didn't work. These are the two things I got from the United Nations: a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter. Thank you very much. And by the way, it's working now. It just went on. Thank you. I think I should just do it the other way. It's easier.
Mm.
Thank you very much. I didn't think of it at the time because I was too busy working to save millions of lives.
Good point.
That is the saving and stopping of these wars. But later I realized that the United Nations wasn't there for us. They weren't there. I thought of it really after the fact, not during these negotiations, which were not easy. That being the case, what is the purpose of the United Nations? The UN has such tremendous potential. I've always said it. It has such tremendous, tremendous potential, but it's not even coming close to living up to that potential. For the most part, at least for now, all they seem to do is write a really strongly worded letter and then never follow that letter up. It's empty words, and empty words don't solve war. The only thing that solves war and wars is action. Now, after ending all of these wars and also earlier negotiating the Abraham Accords, which is a very big thing for which our country received no credit, never receives credit. Everyone says that I should get the Nobel Peace Prize for each one of these achievements. But for me, the real prize will be the sons and daughters who live to grow up with the mothers and fathers, because millions of people are no longer being killed in endless and unglorious wars. What I care about is not winning prizes, it's saving lives. We saved millions and millions of lives with the 7 wars. And we have others that we're working on, and you know that. Many years ago, a very successful real estate.
He said, well, we're still working on peace deals that you guys can try to help out with at any time. But y'all just sit there, once again, twiddling y'all fingers, preaching that you want world peace. But really, I mean, y'all cause more conflicts than you really, I'm gonna be real with you. You guys cause a little bit more conflicts than, well, you kind of quell. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I would hope that you solved more conflicts than you caused. And if we really go back down to it, I mean, yeah, kind of are one of the reasons why we're in this whole situation with Palestine, if you take it far enough back. So the United Nations, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, like, y'all need to start actually doing what y'all say y'all gonna do instead of leaving it up to Trump and having all the criticisms of him. Because this is why he's grilling y'all. Y'all don't do much. I mean, we appreciate the aid, but let's be honest, y'all could have been more involved in Israel and Palestine since the beginning, instead of just leaving it all to the U.S., but then having all the criticism about how the U.S. is handling it.
Developer in New York, known as Donald J. Trump. I bid on the renovation and rebuilding of this very United Nations complex. I remember it so well. I said at the time that I would do it for $500 million, rebuilding everything. It would be beautiful. I used to talk about, I'm going to give you marble floors. They're going to give you terrazzo.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the best of everything. You're going to have mahogany walls. They're going to give you plastic. But they decided to go in another direction, which was much more expensive at the time, and which actually produced a far inferior product. And I realized that they did not know what they were doing when it came to construction, and that their building concepts were so wrong, and the product that they were proposing to build was so bad and so costly. It was going to cost them a fortune. And I said, and wait till you see the overruns. Well, I turned out to be right. They had massive cost overruns and spent between $2 and $4 billion on the building, and did not even get the marble floors that I promised them. You walk on terrazzo. Do you notice that? As far as I'm concerned, frankly, looking at the building and getting stuck on the escalator, they still haven't finished the job. They still haven't finished. That was years ago. The project was so corrupt that Congress actually asked me to testify before them on the tremendous waste of money, because it turned out that they had no idea what it was, but they knew it was anywhere between $2 and $4 billion as opposed to $500 million with a guarantee. But they had no idea, and I said it cost much more than $5 billion. Unfortunately, many things in the United Nations are happening just like that. but on an even much bigger scale, much, much bigger. Very sad to see whether the UN can
Oh, and shout out last thing, he says Trump 2028, stop the 2030 own nothing agenda. Yes, please stop the World Economic Forum.
manage to
Shout out
play a
Vlad.
productive role. I've come here today to offer the hand of American leadership and friendship to any nation in this assembly that is willing to join us in forging a safer, more prosperous world. And it's a world that we'll be much happier with. A dramatically better future is within our reach. But to get there, we must reject the failed approaches of the past and work together to confront some of the greatest threats in history. There is no more serious danger to our planet today than the most powerful and destructive weapons ever devised by man, of which the United States, as you know, has many. Just as I did in my first term, I've made containing these threats a top priority, starting with the nation of Iran. My position is very simple. The world's number one sponsor of terror can never be allowed to possess the most dangerous weapon. That's why shortly after taking office, I sent the so-called Supreme Leader a letter making a generous offer. I extended a pledge of full cooperation in exchange for a suspension of Iran's nuclear program. The regime's answer was to continue their constant threats to
Hey, no, that is hilarious. As he's talking about Iran, why they switched over the cameras to the Iran Islamic Republic right to them, right in their face. Oh, bro, legend. Oh man, yes, this is the type of leadership we need. He says right to y'all face. I guarantee y'all not gonna get a nuke. Like I'm telling you this, y'all never gonna get a nuke. We're not gonna allow it. I might as well tell you right here to y'all faces. I mean, shout out Trump.
their neighbors and U.S.
But I mean, let's be honest though. You think Iran stopped trying to make a nuke? Or I'm honestly, I don't never believe that they were trying to make nukes, but do you think they're honestly gonna stop trying to upgrade their uranium now? Right after the whole, and this, remember, this is my theory about it. I know everybody has their theory, but they, in my theory, that they had it for determined. Now that the determined didn't work and they got attacked for having 60% uranium, things might actually now progress towards the direction of them having a nuke. And hopefully we don't find out a little too late.
Interest throughout the region and some great countries that are right nearby. Today, many of Iran's former military commanders, in fact, I can say almost all of them, are no longer with us. They're dead. And 3 months ago, in Operation Midnight Hammer, 7 American B-2 bombers dropped the 14 30,000-pound each bombs on Iran's key nuclear facilities, totally obliterating everything. No other country on earth could have done what we did. No other country has the equipment to do what we did. We have the greatest weapons on earth. We hate to use them. But we did something that for 22 years people wanted to do. With Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity demolished, I immediately brokered an end to the 12-day war, as it's called.
I mean, yeah, you trust me. You scared the hell out of Iran. You dropped the bomb and they didn't hear it coming. I mean, that's probably the scariest thing you could do to somebody. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they capitulated quite quickly. And let's be honest. I mean, Iran never wanted beef with us. They never want beef with the U.S. They always kind of bend the knee every time we seem to get involved. I mean, that's kind of what they did with Israel. If we just left out of it, these guys would still be fighting till today. But because we got involved, Iran once again kind of just be like, okay, we're done. Just keep America out of our land.
Between Israel and Iran.
Oh, and shout out to my man Anonymous. He said, check out what I posted in Discord chat. Well, in the Discord general chat. I got you.
Both sides agreeing to fight no longer. As everyone knows, I have also been deeply engaged in seeking a ceasefire in Gaza. Have to get that done. Have to get it done. Unfortunately, Hamas has repeatedly rejected reasonable offers to make peace. We can't forget October 7th, can we? Now, as if to encourage continued conflict, some of this body is seeking to unilaterally recognize a Palestinian state. The rewards would be too great for Hamas terrorists for their atrocities. This would be a reward for these horrible atrocities, including.
Yeah, but what I've been hearing is that people are honestly feeling that Israel, due to the way they carried out this war, well, it kind of pushed everybody towards the Palestinians. I mean, think about it. We do got a lot of, well, honestly, what was it like? As it was Canada, France, UK, Australia that's recognizing Palestine as a state, and they're even willing to give these guys a little bit of, land in their own country. So yeah, due to the way Israel carried out this war, it made people more sympathetic towards the Palestinians. I mean, don't mean they're going to get Gaza back, obviously not, but I mean, it does mean that they'll have some place to be migrated to. And people already having their fears about that, of course, which, of course, your common Islamophobia, but hey, it is what it is.
October 7th, even while they refused to release the hostages or accept a ceasefire. Instead of giving to Hamas and giving so much, because they've taken so much, they have taken so much. This could have been solved so long ago. But instead of giving in to Hamas's ransom demands, those who want peace should be united with one message: release the hostages now. Just release the hostages now. Okay. Thank you. As we have got to come together, and we will come together, got to get it done. We have to stop the war in Gaza immediately. We have to stop it. We have to get it done. We have to negotiate, immediately have to negotiate peace. We got to get the hostages back. We want all 20 back. We don't want 2 and 4. As you know, I got, along with Steve Witkoff and others that helped us, Marco Rubio, we got most of them back. We were involved in all of them. But I always said the last 20 are going to be the hardest, and that's exactly what happened. We have to get them back now. We don't want to get back 2, and then another 2, and then 1, and then 3. Have this process. No, we want them all back, and we want the actually 38 dead bodies back too. Those parents came to me, and they want them back, and they want them back very quickly and very badly, as though they were alive. They want them. They want them every bit as much as if their son or daughter were alive. I've also been working.
And shout out to Parabolic Curvature. Hey, my man finally joined the membership. Well, actually, I think you've been joining the membership. You're probably just updating it. But shout out my man Parabolic Curvature. Appreciate you for joining, man. And hey, guys, for $2 to $3 a month, you can help support the channel by joining the membership and then also getting in on the members only Discord. All right, guys, let's get right back to it.
Relentlessly stopping the killing in Ukraine. I thought that would be, of the 7 wars that I stopped, I thought that would be the easiest because of my relationship with President Putin, which had always been a good one. I thought that was going to be the easiest one. But, in war, you never know what's going to happen. There are always lots of surprises, both good and bad. Everyone thought Russia would win this war in 3 days, but it didn't work out that way.
Nope.
It was supposed to be just a quick little skirmish.
And thanks to us, I mean, that's really what it was. Thanks to our military funding, yes, Russia, I mean, my bad, not Russia, but Ukraine was able to last out. They was able to hold out. And then, of course, due to Ukraine's, unethical military practices, like, pulling citizens and young people and now old people off the street and onto the front line, they were able to do something with that. And, of course, playing into certain white supremacy groups. But we won't talk about that right now. We'll get into that later.
It's not making Russia look good. It's making them look bad. No matter what happens from here on out, this was something that should have taken a matter of days, certainly less than a week. And they've been fighting for 3.5 years and killing anywhere from 5,000 to 7,000 young soldiers, mostly soldiers, on both sides every single week. From 5,000 to 7,000 dead young people, and some in cities, much smaller numbers, where rockets are shot.
And shout out to my man Parabolic Curvature. He says, have to keep access to the Discord between Maine and Monty, both blocking me. I've been having a lot of fun in there. Hey, I'm glad to hear it. Shout out. Don't worry, guys. I'm gonna try to go ahead and play more. Well, honestly, more documentaries, more watch parties, and all that. Just give me some suggestions, and I'll go ahead and set them up for you guys in the Discord.
Where drones are dropped. This war would never have started if I were president. This was a war that should have never happened. It shows you what leadership is, what bad leadership can do to a country. Look what happened to the United States, and look where we are right now in just a short period of time. The only question now is how many more lives will be needlessly lost on both sides. China and India are the primary funders of the ongoing war by continuing to purchase Russian oil.
Yep.
But inexcusably, even NATO countries have not cut off much Russian energy and Russian energy products.
You would think they would, since they're the main ones, crying about Russia. I mean, you would think all of Europe would stop buying from, or would low-key get mad about any of their oil coming from Russia if they're oh so serious about stopping this war. I mean, let's be honest. We already expect India and China to act in duplicitous ways. We already know how they are. It's like they'll play nice in your face, then they play dirty behind your back. So we know how they are, but Europe, we expected better out of y'all. I'm talking about y'all world
leaders. I found
leaders.
out about 2 weeks ago, and I wasn't happy. Think of it. They're funding the war against themselves. Who the hell?
Oh, and shout out to my man Vlastine. He says Canada invited and cheered for a Ukrainian Nazi. Yeah, a lot of people don't know about that. How there are literally white supremacist groups, aka Nazis, out there fighting for Ukraine. But they don't want to tell you that part.
Ever heard of that one? In the event that Russia is not
whatever
ready
takes
to make
one,
a
I
deal
guess, huh?
to end the war, then the United States is fully prepared to impose a very strong round of powerful tariffs, which would stop the bloodshed, I believe, very quickly. But for those tariffs to be effective, European nations, all of you are gathered here right now, would have to join us in adopting the exact same measures. I mean, you're much closer to this. We have an ocean in between. You're right there.
Yeah.
And Europe has to step it up. They can't be doing what they're doing.
Hey, these guys are on their phones. Is low-key hilarious. It's like, man, we ain't worried about what you're talking about right now. We gonna win. I mean, Ukraine can't do anything. We're still progressing the line. We don't care that we're throwing away hundreds of thousands of soldiers. We don't give a damn. It's like, hey, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. Russia, they kind of know they're gonna win this, and they have all the reserves in the world to kind of throw into the wood chipper. Ukraine, I mean, they're throwing in their soldiers into the wood chipper as well, but they don't got as much soldiers to burn through as Russia. And that's why Ukraine is taking civilians, like young men and old men, onto the battlefield. It's getting that bad.
Buying oil and gas from Russia while they're fighting Russia. It's embarrassing to them. And it was very.
And trust me, if Russia was losing this war, we'd have got a ceasefire like yesterday. Honestly, we'd have got a ceasefire when Putin pulled up to America. I mean, in Alaska. If Russia was losing, they'd have been begging for a ceasefire. But and if Russia was losing, I mean, why do they still control about 10 to 20% of Ukraine? If they were losing, though, like common sense here. Let's use that.
Very embarrassing to them when I found out about it, I can tell you that. They have to immediately cease all energy purchases from Russia. Otherwise, we're all wasting a lot of time. So I'm ready to discuss this. We're going to discuss it today with the European nations, all gathered here. I'm sure they're thrilled to hear me speak about it, but that's the way it is. I like to speak my mind and speak the truth. As we seek to reduce the threat of dangerous weapons today, I'm also calling on every nation to join us in ending the development of biological weapons once and for all. And biological is terrible, and nuclear is even beyond, and we include nuclear in that. We want to have a cessation of the development of nuclear weapons. We know, and I get to view it all the time. Sir, would you like to see? And I look at weapons that are so powerful that we just can't ever use them. If we ever use them, the world literally might come to an end. There would be no United Nations to be talking about. There would be no nothing. Just a few years ago, reckless experiments overseas gave us a devastating global pandemic. Yet, despite that worldwide catastrophe, many countries are continuing extremely risky research into bioweapons and man-made pathogens. This is unbelievably dangerous. To prevent potential disasters, I'm announcing today that my administration will lead an international effort to enforce biological weapons convention, which is going to be meeting with the top leaders of the world by pioneering an AI verification system that everyone can trust. Hopefully, the UN can play a constructive role, and it will also be one of the early projects under AI. Let's see how good it is, because a lot of people are saying it could be one of the great things ever, but it also can be dangerous, but it can be put to tremendous use and tremendous good, and this would be an example of that. Not only is the UN not solving the problems it should too often, it's actually creating new problems for us to solve. The best example.
I mean, of course, due to their NGOs and our NGOs as well. I mean, really, a lot of NGOs out there are doing the devil's work, but hey, we'll get into that a little bit later. But let's go ahead and get into this clip sent in by my man Anonymous, because he says we really need to check it out. So let's see it.
Oh my God. A statue of Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump holding hands and lifting their leg up has been placed near the National Mall in Washington, D.C. There are three plaques on this statue. The one in the middle is celebrating National Friendship Month. Donald Trump and his closest friend, Jeffrey Epstein. And the other plaques are allegedly letters that they exchanged between each other. People are clearly frustrated about the Epstein files, but I mean, I have so many questions. Who put this up there? Who has the money to put a statue up like this? How do they do it without anyone seeing? Is it even allowed to put up public statues? And if it is, if you take it down, is it a violation of the First Amendment? I mean, this is wild.
I mean, bruh, like if you look at the statue, that mug cut from marble. I mean, hold on, this is too professionally done. It's like what they did in their garage and just found a way to plant it out there. What big ass truck? Like, what did they come in the 18-wheeler? Like, I don't know. I'm curious. I actually got to look into that. That's crazy.
Is the number one political issue of our time, the crisis of uncontrolled migration. It's uncontrolled.
Yep.
Your countries are being ruined. The United Nations is funding an assault on Western countries and their borders. In 2024, the UN budgeted $372 million in cash assistance to support an estimated 624,000 migrants journeying into the United States. Think of that. The UN is supporting people that are illegally coming into the United States, and then we have to get them out. The UN also provided food, shelter, transportation, and debit cards to illegal aliens. Can you believe that? On the way to infiltrate our southern border. Millions of people came through that southern border. Just a year ago, millions and millions of people were pouring in, 25 million altogether over the 4 years of the incompetent Biden administration. And now we have it stopped, totally stopped. In fact, they're not even coming anymore because they know they can't get through. But what took place is totally unacceptable. The UN is supposed to stop invasions, not create them and not finance them. In the United States, we reject the idea that
basically financing their invasions into some of their own countries, which is the craziest part. And yeah, I mean, look, bro, their migration tactics are like pretty much pushing a globalist migration agenda. Like I said, hey, man, there's no such thing as borders when you just have everybody flood your borders, act like a border ain't even there. So, yeah, it does kind of align with the globalist agenda that you would hope they wouldn't be trying to carry out. You would hope that they would respect people's cultures and, boundaries, but obviously not, obviously.
Numbers of people from foreign lands can be permitted to travel halfway around the world, trample our borders, violate our sovereignty, cause unmitigated crime, and deplete our social safety net. We have reasserted that America belongs to the American people, and I encourage all countries to take their own stand in defense of their citizens as well. You have to do that because I see it.
And should I hell bad? He said probably someone accused of immigration fraud. Oh, hey.
I'm not mentioning names. I see it, and I can call every single one of them out. You're destroying your countries. They're being destroyed.
No, go ahead.
Europe is in serious trouble. They've been invaded by a force of illegal aliens like nobody's ever seen before. Illegal aliens are pouring into Europe. Nobody's doing anything to change it, to get them out. It's not sustainable. And because they choose to be politically correct, they're doing just absolutely nothing about it. And I have to say, I look at London, where you have a terrible mayor, terrible mayor. And it's been so changed. Now they want to go to Sharia law, but you're in a different country. You can't do that. Both the immigration and their suicidal energy ideas will be the death of Western Europe if something is not done immediately. This cannot be sustained. What makes the world so beautiful is that each country is unique. But to stay this way, every sovereign nation must have the right to control their own borders. You have the right to control your borders, as we do now, and to limit the sheer numbers of migrants entering their countries and paid for by the people of that nation that were there and that built that particular.
And the worst part about it is paid for by, excuse me, but paid for by the people, but unwanted by the people, like just how they were doing us in America. It's like we're paying for it, even though we don't want it. And for some reason, their needs are getting put above ours. And boy, even though we don't want that. And here's the problem. It's causing a whole lot of crime. But for some reason, our leaders are ignoring it. And some of them are downright even having arguments for it. Yes, I ain't gonna lie. It was pretty damn disheartening during the Biden administration when they were literally trying to hide this while, the country's eroding. And you know what? It's probably disheartening for a lot of these guys, a lot of these UN countries or citizens of these UN countries, seeing their country get flooded in by immigrants because world leaders just don't give a damn about their culture or border. I mean, hey, man, if I was them, yep, you couldn't do that to me. I'm up out of there.
Nation at the time. They put their blood, sweat, tears, money into that country.
And shout out to my man Maine. The UN wants a one world domination. Yeah, that's true, but they got to figure out what type of army they're going to back that up with.
And now,
I mean, shoot, hopefully they don't just plan on just start the army of immigrants. They're just going to flood everybody with immigrants, and hopefully we all just turn into globalist civilizations. Is crazy. I mean, and the fact that they're going to do that through Muslims. I mean, this plan wasn't well thought out.
They're being ruined. Proud nations must be allowed to protect their communities and prevent their societies from being overwhelmed by people they have never seen before, with different customs, religions, with different everything. Where migrants have violated laws, lodged false asylum claims, or claimed refugee status for illegitimate reasons, they should, in many cases, be immediately sent home. And while we will always have a big heart for places and people that are struggling and truly compassionate, answers will be given. We have to solve the problem, and we have to solve it in their countries, not create new problems in our countries. And we are very helpful to a lot of countries that are just not able to send their people anymore. They used to send them to us in caravans of 25, 30,000 people each. These massive caravans of people pouring into our country, totally unchecked and unvetted. But not anymore. According to the Council of Europe in 2024, almost 50% of inmates in German prisons were foreign nationals or migrants. In Austria, the number was 53% of the people in prisons were from places that weren't from where they are now. In Greece, the number was 54%. And in Switzerland, beautiful Switzerland, 72% of the people in prisons are from outside of Switzerland. When your prisons are filled with so-called asylum seekers who repaid kindness, and that's what they did. They repaid kindness with crime. It's time to end the failed experiment of open borders. You have to end it now. See, I can tell you, I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going.
Man, the main problem is they didn't vet these guys. Like, if you're wondering why in Switzerland their prisons are filled up with a whole bunch of immigrants, well, they didn't vet them. They just let them in on the sympathy points without really vetting them, what their background was, let them in. And then when they commit crime, they're sitting here surprised, shocked even. And, we're kind of looking at them like, well,
You stupid.
yeah, we're kind of looking at y'all like that. Like, what do you think was going to happen? I mean, in our situation, it was even happening. And here's the thing. We were inviting in basically other Christian nations. Well, I guess Mexico. Well, really just Mexico, honestly. Or at least really just Latin American countries.
To hell. In America, we've taken bold action to swiftly shut down uncontrolled migration. Once we started detaining and deporting everyone who crossed the border and removing illegal aliens from the United States, they simply stopped coming. They're not coming anymore. We're getting a lot of credit, but they're not coming anymore. This was a humanitarian act for all involved, because on the trips up, thousands of people a week were dying. Women were being raped. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Raped, horribly beaten, raped. On the trip up, the journey up, it was a long walk. It was a long, arduous journey, indeed. And it was also a historic victory against human trafficking throughout the region. What we did was a victory, and we saved so many lives of people that wouldn't make the journey. That journey was loaded up with death.
Bruh. Loaded up with death, hard times, and then, I mean, let's be real, the people who are taking you there might just hit you with the, hey, yo, if you ain't got enough money, we're about to leave you here, and we don't care if you're like a 10-year-old child. It is what it is. Or we'll just, if you're a woman, well, hey, man, me and my compadres are about to get parts, or else we're just about to leave you right here in the desert. I mean, yeah, it got pretty bad. And this is one of the reasons why Tom Homan was really passionate about stopping immigration, because he's witnessed young women and he's witnessed cars full of bodies of dead immigrants who died of heat exhaustion. Yeah, it gets pretty brutal.
Loaded up with death. Dead bodies all along the roads of jungles to get up. They go through jungles. They go through areas so hot you couldn't breathe. They were dying of suffocation. Areas so hot that you couldn't breathe. Dead bodies all over. By them not coming, we're saving tremendous numbers of lives. My people have done a fantastic job in doing what they did, and the American public agrees with it. I mean, I was very proud to see this morning I have the highest poll numbers I've ever had. Part of it is because of what we've done on the border. I guess the other part is what we've done on the economy. Joe Biden's policies empowered murderous gangs, human smugglers, child traffickers, drug cartels, and prisoners from all over the world. The previous administration also lost nearly 300,000 children. Think of that. They lost more than 300,000 children, little children, who were trafficked into the United States on the Biden watch, many of whom have been raped, exploited, and abused, and sold. Sold. Nobody talks about that. The fake news doesn't write about it. With many others, young children.
Why would they write about it when they would have to take responsibility? Well, not them, but the Biden administration would have to take responsibility for it. It's best you not talk about those things. Yeah, let's not talk about the 300,000 unaccompanied minor just walked over here and we can't trace. We don't know what's going on with them. We don't know if they're being trafficked or or slave worked on a farm. You never know. You just never know where these kids are at. But we do know they're not safe.
Who are missing or dead. And we found a lot of these children, and we're sending them back, and we've been sending them back to their parents. They said, nobody knows who they are. They said, where do you come from? And they'll give us a country, and we'll find out, and we'll figure it out, and we'll bring them back to their homes. And the mother and father rush to the door, and their tears in their eyes. They can't believe that they're seeing their son or daughter, their little son or daughter again. We've done almost 30,000 of them so far. Any system that results in the mass trafficking of children is inherently evil. Yet that is exactly what the globalist migration agenda has done, and it's what it's all about. In America, those days, as you know, are over. The Trump administration is working, and we are continuing to work to track down the villains that are causing this problem, and also, as I said, to get back the 30,000 we've already returned. Now I think we're going to have another. We're going to find a lot. You're not going to find all of them. 300, more than 300,000. They're lost or they're dead. they're lost or they're dead because of the animals that did this. To protect our citizens, I've also designated multiple savage drug cartels as far as and you see this, and you see it happening right before your eyes. Let's put it this way: people don't like taking big loads of drugs in boats anymore. There aren't too many boats that are traveling on the seas by Venezuela. They tend not to want to travel very quickly anymore.
I mean, after you made an example out of those one guys, I mean, trust me, the cartel's kind of like, you know what, maybe we should wait on sending boats out there because Trump just blew up an entire boat. He didn't even that, bro. They didn't ask questions or nothing. They just blew it up. And trust me, they knew that there were drugs and there were narcos on there. They just didn't ask no questions when they blew them up. So, hey, it is what it is. And trust me, I'm pretty sure the cartel's been put on notice.
And we virtually stopped drugs coming into our country by sea. We call them the water drugs. They kill hundreds of thousands of people. I've also designated multiple savage drug cartels as far as foreign terrorist organizations, along with two bloodthirsty transnational gangs, probably the worst gangs anywhere in the world, MS-13 and Tren de Aragua. Tren de Aragua is from Venezuela, by the way. Such organizations torture, maim, mutilate, and murder with impunity. They're the enemies of all humanity. For this reason, we've recently begun using the supreme power of the United States military to destroy Venezuela terrorists and trafficking networks led by Nicolas Maduro. To every terrorist thug smuggling poisonous drugs into the United States of America, please be warned that we will blow you out of existence. That's what we're doing. We have no choice.
Well, you said it right to the Venezuelans' official faces. Like, look, man, if y'all want to keep on supporting these cartels, like, we'll blow y'all right out the water. I mean, you guys can go ahead and try to foot it on land. We'll meet you at the border. I mean, trust me, if you don't think that they're trying to find a way to meet these guys on land as well, you're tripping because they already secured the waterway. So if you don't think that they're going to secure the on ground, then you're tripping.
Let it happen. They're destroying. I believe we lost 300,000 people last year to drugs, 300,000. Fentanyl and other drugs. Each boat that we sink carries drugs that would kill more than 25,000 Americans. We will not let that happen. Energy is another area where the United States is now thriving like never before. We're getting rid of the falsely named renewables. By the way, they're a joke. They don't work. They're too expensive. They're not strong enough to fire up the plants that you need to make your country great. The wind doesn't blow. Those big windmills are so pathetic and so bad, so expensive.
Now, my man Monty would disagree because I think he says that we just don't have the technology or we don't put enough into the technology and we're kind of just running off with the crude oil. And, you know, we're pretty much just sticking with what we know instead of experimenting with new things, which in my honest opinion, I mean, I would say this: one is going to make us money and one's just going to technologically advance us, but we got to spend more money to get there. One we can make money off, one we got to spend money on. I mean, which one will you guys do to save your country in that moment or to bring revenue into your country?
To operate, and they have to be rebuilt all the time, and they start to rust and rot. Most expensive energy ever conceived, and it's actually.
But there's a lot of people who do believe that green energy is a scam.
Energy, you're supposed to make money with energy, not lose money. You lose money, the governments have to subsidize. You can't put them out without massive subsidies. And most of them are built in China, and I give China a lot of credit. They build them, but they very few wind farms. So why is it that they build them and they send them all over the world, but they barely use them? You know what they use? Coal. They use gas. They use almost anything, but they don't like wind. But they sure as hell like selling the windmills. Europe, on the other hand, has a long way to go, with many countries being on the brink of destruction because of the green energy agenda. And I give a lot of credit to Germany. Germany was being led down a very sick path, both on immigration, by the way, and on energy. They were going green and they were going bankrupt. And the new leadership came in and they went back to where they were, with fossil fuel and with nuclear, which is good. It's now safe, and you can do it properly. But they went back to where they were, and they opened up a lot of different plants, energy producing plants, and they're doing well. I give Germany a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, me too. A lot of people don't remember this, but Germany, like their farmers revolted because their government was trying to make them use a more expensive form of energy. So trust me, Germany was also having their problems when it came to this whole green energy struggle and all that wild stuff, and their government trying to force them to pay more in energy costs to support a green energy initiative. And the farmers, well, I mean, shout out to German farmers. Y'all start leaving manure on the statesmen's porches. I mean, hey, I respect it.
That they've said this is a disaster, what's happening. They were going all green. All green is all bankrupt. That's what it represents. And it's not politically correct. I'll be very badly criticized for saying it, but I'm here to tell the truth. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I'm in New York City. I'm feeling a lot safer. Crime, we're getting crime down. And by the way, speaking of crime, Washington, D.C. was the crime capital of America. Now it's after 12 days, it's a totally safe city. Everyone's going out to dinner. They're going out to restaurants. Your wife can walk down the middle of the street with or without you. Nothing's going to happen. My people have done a fantastic job. And yes, I called in the National Guard, and the National Guard took care of business, and they weren't politically correct, but they took care of business. We got 1,700 career criminals out, brought them back to where they came from, the countries where they came from, or put them in jails. Washington, D.C. is now a totally safe city again, and I welcome you to come. In fact, we'll have dinner together at a local restaurant, and we'll be able to walk. We don't have to go by an armor-plated vehicle. We'll walk right over there from the White House. They've given up their powerful edge, a lot of the countries that we're talking about in oil and gas, such as essentially closing the great North Sea oil. Oh, the North Sea, I know it so well. Aberdeen was the oil capital of Europe, and there's tremendous oil that hasn't been found in the North Sea, tremendous oil. And I was with the prime minister I respect and like a lot, and I said, you're sitting with the greatest asset. They essentially closed it by making it so highly taxed that no developer, no oil company can go there. They have tremendous oil left, and more importantly, they have tremendous oil that hasn't even been found yet. And what a tremendous asset for the United Kingdom. And I hope the prime minister is listening, because I told it to him 3 days in a row. That's all he heard. North Sea oil, North Sea, because I want to see them do well. I want to stop seeing them ruining that beautiful Scottish and English countryside with windmills and massive solar panels that go 7 miles by 7 miles, taking away farmland. But we're not letting this happen in America. In 1982, the executive director of the United Nations Environmental Program predicted that by the year 2000, climate change would cause a global catastrophe. He said that it will be irreversible, as any nuclear holocaust would be. This is what they said at the United Nations. Yeah. What happened? Here we are. Another UN official stated in 1989.
I mean, the fear mongering of climate change and, oh, if we don't switch to green energy, we're all going to be underwater and all this wild stuff. It's like, it hasn't happened. It's been complete fear mongering. But I mean, at least they've been able to back up some of the energy producing, some of the new energy producing ways with science. And of course, solar panels and wind farms are all like new back then. All those are still being debated. But to be honest, the way they were selling it to us was a bit dishonest.
That within a decade, entire nations could be wiped off the map by global warming. Not happening. It used to be global cooling. If you look back years ago in the 1920s and the 1930s, they said, global cooling will kill the world. We have to do something. Then they said global warming will kill the world. But then it started getting cooler. So now they could just call it climate change, because that way they can't miss. It's climate change. Because if it goes higher or lower, whatever the hell happens, there's climate change. It's the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world, in my opinion. climate change. No matter what happens, you're involved in that. No more global warming, no more global cooling. All of these predictions made by the United Nations and many others, often for bad reasons, were wrong.
Yep.
They were made by stupid people that have cost their countries fortunes and given those same countries no chance for success. If you don't get away from this green scam, your country is going to fail. And I'm really good at predicting things, you know. They actually said during the campaign, they had a hat, the best-selling hat. Trump was right about everything. And I don't say that in a braggadocious way, but it's true. I've been right about everything. And I'm telling you that if you don't get away from the green energy scam, your country is going to fail.
Green energy
If
mafia.
you don't stop people that you've never seen before, that you have nothing in common with, your country is going to fail. I'm the president of the United States, but I worry about Europe. I love Europe. I love the people of Europe. And I hate to see it being devastated by energy and immigration. This double-tailed monster destroys everything in its wake, and they cannot let that happen any longer. You're doing it because you want to be nice. You want to be politically correct, and you're destroying your heritage. They must take control strongly and immediately of the unmitigated immigration disaster and the fake energy catastrophe before it's too late. The carbon.
I would say it like this. I mean, which countries are making more money? The ones that produce oil or the one that's producing this green energy? I mean, look at Russia. I mean, shoot, look at this. Look at the Middle Eastern countries. I mean, man, they got them. I mean, mega wealth. They're basically trillionaires off oil. So which one's more profitable? I mean, which countries are richer? The ones who are practicing green energy or the ones that's sticking with the oil? I mean, come on now. And I know y'all are trying to go from an environmentally safe like perspective here, and I get it. But when it comes to the prosperity of your country, I mean, which one's better for you? And I'm not giving you the answer here. I would just like you guys to answer that for yourself, depending on where you are. Because like I said, it's watch worldwide. So there's people from all over in here. I mean, one guy said they're from Germany.
Footprint is a hoax made up by people with evil intentions, and they're heading down a path of total destruction. You know, the carbon footprint, it was a big, big thing a few years ago. I remember hearing about the carbon footprint, and then President Obama would get into Air Force One, a massive Boeing 747, and not a new one, an old one with old engines that spew everything into the atmosphere. He'd talk about the carbon footprint, we must do so. Then he'd get in and he'd fly from Washington to Hawaii to play a round of golf. And then he'd get back onto that big, beautiful plane and he'd fly back and he'd talk about, again, global warming and the carbon footprint. It's a con job. At extreme cost and expense, Europe reduced its own carbon footprint by 37%. Think of that. Congratulations, Europe. Great job. It cost yourself a lot of jobs, a lot of factories closed, but you reduced the carbon footprint by 37%. However, for all of that sacrifice and much more, it's been totally wiped out and then some by a global increase of 54%. Much of it coming from China and other countries that are thriving around China, which now produces more CO2 than all the other developed nations in the world. So all of these countries are working so hard on the carbon footprint, which is nonsense, by the way. It's nonsense. You know, it's interesting. In the United States, we have still radicalized environmentalists, and they want the factories to stop. Everything should stop. No more cows. We don't want cows anymore. I guess they want to kill all the cows. They want to do things that are just unbelievable, and you have it too. But, you know, we have a border, strong, and we have a shape.
Wait, what?
And that shape doesn't just go straight up. That shape is amorphous when it comes to the atmosphere. And if we had the most clean air, and I think we do.
Okay, now I see what Trump is talking about with this whole green energy BS. So let's see here. So shout out Germany. It says households pay the EEG surcharge on each kilowatt to fund renewable energy. Renewable energy is funded off the backs of the people in Germany, like Denmark, United Kingdom, Spain. It's like, bro, it's not really helping y'all. It's being funded by y'all.
We have
That's
very
tough.
clean air. We have the cleanest air we've had in
I mean, so while the Saudis are out there making money off oil, you guys are out here funding green energy and losing money. Oh, that's tough.
many, many years. But the
I need
problem
to change
is
the
that other
strategy.
countries like China, which has air that's a little bit rough, it blows. And no matter what you're doing down here, the air up here tends to get very dirty because it comes in from other countries where their air isn't so clean. And the environmentalists refuse to acknowledge that. Same thing with garbage.
China.
In Asia, they dump much of their garbage right into the ocean. And over about a 1 week and 2 week journey, it flows right past Los Angeles. You've seen it. Massive amounts of garbage, almost too much to do anything about, flowing past Los Angeles, past San Francisco. And then somebody will get in trouble because he dropped a cigarette on the beach. The whole thing is crazy. The primary effect of these brutal green energy policies has not been to help the environment, but to redistribute manufacturing and industrial activity from developed countries that follow the insane rules that are put down to polluting countries that break the rules and are making a fortune. They're making a fortune.
Yeah, I mean,
European electricity bills are now.
yeah, I mean, look, see, many countries originally funded renewable energy via levies on electricity bills, which can raise retail prices, even while renewables lower wholesale prices by displacing costs on gas and coal. But it's yet to be seen that which one is the more of the benefit. I mean, if you're paying more on your electric bill and you're driving up retail costs, I mean, and you're only lowering wholesale with renewable energy, I'm not really sure if that's passing down to the people. I would actually have to ask somebody from there, to be quite honest with you guys. Ask the Germans and the Spain and my Spaniard guys. But yeah, it does look like renewable energy is funded on the people. It does drive down wholesale prices, which drive down, I guess, corporate prices, but I'm not sure if that really helps the individual.
Now 4 to 5 times more expensive than those in China, and 2 to 3 times higher than the United States. And our bills are coming way down. You probably see that our gasoline prices are way down. We have an expression, drill, baby, drill, and that's what we're doing. We're going to be much lower in a year from now. But they've come way down over the last year. As a result, every air conditioner is like very uncommon to see one in some of these countries because the electric costs are so high. So while the U.S. has approximately 1,300 heat-related deaths annually, it's a lot, Europe loses more than 175,000 people to heat deaths each year because the costs are so expensive you can't turn on an air conditioner. What is that all about? That's not Europe. That's not the Europe that I love and know. All in the name of pretending to stop the global warming hoax. The entire globalist concept of asking successful industrialized nations to inflict pain on themselves and radically disrupt their entire societies must be rejected completely and totally, and it must be immediate. That's why in America I withdrew from the fake Paris Climate Accord, where, by the way, America was paying so much more than every country. Others weren't paying. China didn't have to pay until 2030. Russia was given an old standard that was easy to meet, 1990 standard. But for the United States, we're supposed to pay like $1 trillion. And I said, this is another scam. The fact is, the United States has been taken advantage of by the world for many, many years, but not any longer, as you probably noticed. I unleashed massive energy production and signed historic executive orders to hunt for oil, but we don't have to do much hunting because we have the most oil of any nation anywhere, oil and gas in the world. And if you add coal, we have the most of any nation in the world. Clean, I call it clean, beautiful coal. You can do things today with coal that you couldn't have done 10 years ago, 15 years. So I have a little standing order in the White House. Never use the word coal, only use the words clean, beautiful coal. Sounds much better, doesn't it? But we stand ready to provide any country with abundant, affordable energy supplies if you need them, when most of you do. We're proudly exporting energy all over the world. We're now the largest exporter. In the United States, we want trade and robust commerce with all nations, everybody. We want to help nations. We're going to help nations, but it must also be fair and reciprocal. The challenge with trade is much the same with climate. The countries that followed the rules, all their factories have been plundered. It's really sad to watch. They've been broken. They've been broken by countries that broke the rules. That's why the United States is now applying tariffs to other countries, and much as these tariffs were for many years applied to us, uncontrollably applied to us, we've used tariffs as a defense mechanism.
Just like other countries use tariffs as a defense mechanism to protect their domestic economy. I mean, yeah, they can do it to us, but for some reason we do it to them and we're taxing our people to death. But when other countries do it, I mean, no, damn near all countries do it, nobody argues saying that, oh, well, you're placing a tax on their people. India taxed their people to death. China's taxing their people to death. But no, they're not. They're just they're protecting their domestic economy. And of course, even they know that the tariff isn't just a one-way pass down tax to the American consumer. But, you know, I ain't going to get into that right now because, trust me, a lot of y'all don't even know how tariffs work.
Under the Trump administration, including my first term, where hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs were taken in. And by the way, we had the lowest inflation, and now we have very low inflation. The only thing different is that we have hundreds of billions of dollars flowing into our country.
And I always do say, if we were the ones paying these tariffs, then why are these countries complaining about them? Why are they losing their ish? Think about it. If tariffs meant nothing, then why was everybody trying to say, oh, you're ruining the relationship with the entire world and all that good stuff? Why would the world care if this is just a tax on us? Like, really think about what you guys are saying here. And like, does it match up with logic here? Like, come on now. I thought so.
But this is how we will ensure that the system works for everyone and is sustainable into the future. We're also using tariffs to defend our sovereignty and security throughout the world, including against nations that have taken advantage of former U.S. administrations for decades, including the most corrupt, incompetent administration in history, the sleepy Joe Biden administration. Brazil now faces major tariffs in response to its unprecedented efforts to interfere in the rights and freedoms of our American citizens and others, with censorship, repression, weaponization, judicial corruption, and targeting of political critics in the United States. I have a little problem saying this because I must tell you, I was walking in and the leader of Brazil was walking out. We saw him and I saw him, he saw me, and we embraced. And then I'm saying, can you believe I'm going to be saying this in just 2 minutes?
Good.
But we actually agreed that we would meet next week. We didn't have much time to talk, like about 20 seconds. They were in retrospect, I'm glad I waited because this thing didn't.
Honestly, I like that how he mentioned Brazil, because Brazil is one of the best examples of how countries are affected by tariffs instead of the American people. Brazil literally provided subsidies to their corporations who have to pay tariffs. So what did this? So we know that meant that the suppliers, that even though the importer in America is going to pay that 50% tariff on the coffee, because that's what they put it on, their main export in Brazil is coffee. So he put 50% on coffee, knowing that it was going to hurt them. And what did the coffee suppliers do? They cut their price by 50%. So basically the importer is paying that tariff, but it's pretty much paying the same price as if the tariff never existed, because the wholesale or the supplier dropped their price, cut their price by 50%. Brazil comes through, backs them up with a government subsidy to replace that 50% cost that they had to push out. I mean, shout out Brazil. And let's be real, this is honestly probably what some other countries are doing, but just not being honestly up front with it.
Work out too well, but we did talk. We had a good talk, and we agreed to meet next week if that's of interest.
Right.
But he seemed like a very nice man, actually. He liked me, I liked him. But if you and I only do business with people I like. When I don't like them, I don't like them. But we had, at least for about 39 seconds, we had excellent chemistry. It's a good sign. But also in the past, Brazil, can you believe this, unfairly tariffed our nation, but now because of our tariffs, we are hitting them back, and we're hitting them back very hard. As president,
Yeah.
I will always defend our national sovereignty and the rights of.
Like I said, the coffee business is one of Brazil's biggest industries. So the fact that he put 50% on their coffee, as if we can't go somewhere else, and let's be honest, Brazil got some high quality stuff over there. So they are the best of the best, but let's be honest though, let's not get it twisted. We can go somewhere else and get coffee, and that could completely devastate their economy. So this is one of the reasons why that, instead of these suppliers trying to, help, well, honestly, push the cost on to importers, they was like, you know what, we'll take the brunt of the cost. Our government's going to help us because we need the business of the USA. We need you guys. And a lot of countries aren't going to tell you that their corporations mainly profit off the US. You can actually look this up. Look up your favorite corporation, and they probably mainly profit in the US. That's why these tariffs were being played off by world leaders, but taken seriously by industry leaders. And shout out to my man Hellbat. He said, fascist red hats versus the commie terrorists. Who wins? I'm weak.
Of American
Red
citizens.
hats.
So I'm very sorry to say this, that Brazil is doing poorly and will continue to do poorly. They can only do well when they're working with us. Without us, they will fail, just as others have failed. It's true. Next year, the United States will celebrate the 250th anniversary of our glorious independence, a testament to enduring power and American freedom and spirit. We will also be proudly hosting the 2026 FIFA World Cup, and shortly thereafter, the 2028 Olympics, which is going to be very exciting. I hope you all come. I hope that countless people from all over the globe will take part of these will be great celebrations of.
And those of y'all who think that, other countries, like I said, you guys really don't know how we work out here in the world. Y'all living in a fantasy world where if you think that Brazil can sell to another country and replace the money that they were making from the US, you're tripping. Like I said, we're the biggest consumer market in the world. We're the richest country in the world. We have the most disposable income with the richest citizens in the world. So, yeah, a lot of these corporations that operate in countries around the world need us. If they're cut off from us, they go under. They can't even depend on their own citizens to buy their products. I mean, look at China. They can't even depend on their own citizens to buy their products. They need to push their products onto us.
Liberty and human achievement, and that together we all can rejoice in the miracles of history that began in July 4th, 1776, when we founded the light to all nations. And it's something really that an amazing thing came out of that date. It's called the United States of America. In honor of this momentous anniversary, I hope that all countries who find inspiration in our example will join us in renewing our commitment, values, and those values really that we hold so dear together. Let us defend free speech and free expression. Let us protect religious liberty, including for the most persecuted religion on the planet today. It's called Christianity. And let us safeguard our sovereignty and cherish qualities that have made each of our nations so special, incredible, and extraordinary. In closing, I just want to repeat that immigration and the high cost of so-called green renewable energy is destroying a large part of the free world and a large part of our planet. Countries that cherish freedom are fading fast because of their policies on these two subjects. You need strong borders and traditional energy sources if you are going to be great again. Whether you have come from north or south, east or west, near or far, every leader in this beautiful hall today represents a rich culture, a noble history, and a proud heritage that makes each nation majestic and unique, unlike anything else in human history or any other place on the face of the earth. From London to Lima, from Rome to Athens, from Paris to Seoul, from Cairo to Tokyo and Amsterdam to right here in New York City, we stand on the shoulders of the leaders and legends, generals and giants, heroes and titans who won and built our beloved nations, all of our nations. with their own courage, strength, spirit, and skill. Our ancestors climbed mountains, conquered oceans, crossed deserts, and trekked over wide open plains. They charged into thunderous battles, plunged into grave dangers, and they were soldiers and farmers and workers and warriors and explorers and patriots. They built towns into cities, tribes into kingdoms, ideas into industries, and small islands into mighty empires. You're a part of all of that. They were champions for their people who never gave up and who never, ever gave in. Their values defined our national identities. Their visions forged our magnificent destiny. Everybody in this room is a part of it in your own way. Each of us inherits the deeds and the myths, the triumphs, the legacies of our own heroes and founders who so bravely showed us the way. Our ancestors gave everything for homelands that they defended with pride, with sweat, with blood, with life, and with death. Now the righteous task of protecting the nations that they built belongs to each and every one of us. So together, let us uphold our sacred duty to our people and to our citizens. Let us protect their borders, ensure their safety, preserve their cultures, treasure, and traditions, and fight for their precious dreams and their cherished freedoms. And in friendship and really a beautiful vision, let us all work together to build a bright, beautiful planet, a planet that we all share, a planet of peace and a world that is richer, better, and more beautiful than ever before. That can happen. It will happen. It will happen, and I hope it can happen and start right now, right at this moment. We'll turn it around. We're going to make our countries better, safer, more beautiful. We're going to take care of our people. Thank you very much. It's been an honor. God bless the nations of the world. Thank you very much. Bye.
And all right, guys, I do just want to warn y'all, please do not try to spam the same question thinking that I'm going to answer it if you put it in all caps. I'm only going to low-key put you in timeout. If you can't afford to super chat it in, well, just be salty at yourself for not being able to afford a $2 to $5 super chat and get over it. Or ask somebody in the chat. Like, I don't know why y'all trying to get my attention. Y'all know the rules. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and get right into it. You ain't even a member either. I mean, trust me. You got to understand. I only read longtime supporters, members, and super chatters. There you go. Let's go.
We've had an interesting day. I think a very productive day. And we're now we're going to start a meeting with the president, who we all know very well, and he's a brave man, and he's putting up one hell of a fight. And we'll see how that all turns out. But we're going to have a meeting, and we have about 30 meetings scheduled today. We have a lot of meetings scheduled today, going pretty late into the night. But this is an important one, and we have great respect for the fight that Ukraine is putting up. It's pretty amazing, actually. So, Mr. President, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. President.
I mean, trust me, war is going to give respect for how long Ukraine has lasted during this war, but we all know that they're not going to win the war.
First of all, thank you for this meeting. Thank you for your personal efforts to stop this war just now, Mr. President. And I'm happy to say that just now our first ladies of Ukraine, first ladies of the United States,
Yes.
just now we'll have a meeting about Ukrainian children. Thank you for Melania's personal involvement to this topic. And this is very important. I will brief Mr. President and his team what's going on the battlefield. We have good news. Of course, we want to stop the war with your help, first of all. And it's good that our soldiers occupied 360 kilometers this month. And of course,